I'm not going to hesitate a beat. Hey, you go get the IED. Hey, I'll do this. Hey, you call 911. We have to do that. So we just, the continuous education of it. But Ron Corson, our head trainer, has been at Georgia for 28 years. That's all he cares about is making sure that he informs those guys. You know? So we just kind of approached it like that. It's all about information, you know.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, man. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
About some of your freshman package we saw earlier in the year.
Yes.
So I see Michael Williams.
Yes, sir.
Alexander.
Yep.
Jalen
Walker.
Walker's
Yes, sir.
3 true freshmen on third down and money down.
This is what I'll tell you. This is what I'll tell you. At Georgia, if you are good enough, you're old enough, if that makes sense. So those guys work their tails off to learn our packages, and you know, we want to give those guys opportunities to show their talents, you know, and to help us. And it creates quality depth on those guys, you know, transitioning from the beginning of the year to now, you know. I mean, thinking about it going into their 15th game. They're not rookies no more. Those guys have played a lot of snaps, you know. So
I'm going to have you go through some of your players so you can tell us what's good about them and tell us what's bad about them, whatever you want.
All right.
So tell me about Michael Williams in his freshman year.
Yeah, Michael, first and foremost, I love him because he's a really hard worker and he's a willing learner. That has helped him tremendously with this. He's good versus the run. He's a natural pass rush, bend, athletic guy. But those are the things that help him as a player.
What does he need to work on?
Man, everything, you know, to that point.
Cool.
Well, here's the reason why. When you become a virtuoso at something, you know, you do it so well that you can't mess it up. And so we aren't to that point yet, you know. So there's always different little nicks and knacks and things that we can tweak on it from, hey, let me step this way because if the running back's over here, I want to be able to do this. Hey, let me do this with my weight. Hey, let me do this. And so we're always tweaking on it, and we're searching for perfection, knowing that we never could get there.
Zaire Stackhouse. Everyone talks about Jalen Carter,
Stack.
but Zaire's having quite
I would have been lost without Stack this year. Stack, to me, did a tremendous job on owning the burden of responsibility when, you know, there was a time where Jalen was a little bit unhealthy. You know, and he waited his time behind our guys last year. He learned from them. He kept preparing as if he was going to play, every down. And now we're seeing the benefits of his workman attitude. You know, it's been great. And then once Jalen was able to come back, those guys were able to mesh and unify, and it just made our depth even better because you got Nas and you got Warren Brinson and Zion Lowe, who really did a good job as vets. And then they were able to bring along Keithy and Bear Alexander for those guys as well.
kind of jumping older than younger. We go back to Bear Alexander.
Yeah.
Big guy comes in, actually gets in on those third down packages.
Yes.
Kind of that inside technique.
You know, that was a role that was created for him, and we felt like in recruiting him that he'd be able to bring value to that. You always want to have at least 2 or 3 guys that can do the same thing. And so, you know, when Jalen was unavailable, or if Warren Brinson was unavailable, or Nas, then Alexander was in position really to be like, hey, I got it, next man up. So he took that burden on, and it's grown slowly but surely throughout the year. But he practices very hard, and it's a situation where he learned how to practice, and he's improved every week over these past 14, 15 weeks on trying to master his technique and fundamentals too.
I don't want to butt in on this, right? But he had to lose 40 pounds to get there, right?
Yeah, he did a tremendous job. He did a tremendous job of coming in, and we got a great nutritionist, Collier Madaleno. Last January, he came in, guys. He was, maybe 337, 340. And by March or April, he was low 300 pounds. He changed his body. He changed his body fat comp. And that's a testament to his willingness to grind. And it's also a testament to Collier Madaleno and her nutritionist program, too.
So you got another guy that came in really heavy.
Yeah.
Talk a bit about Jamal Jarrett.
Yeah, man. Big Jaw. Great kid. We call him Big Jolly. Great kid. I know he's going to be willing to learn and grind the same way that Alexander did, just because that's how it's supposed to go. You get one of your bigger bros that's come in and say, you know what, hey bro, I've been through that. let me show you the way. Just listen, learn, and you'll be good. Transition from there.
Another guy we don't hear people talk about a whole lot is Warren Brinson.
Yeah.
He's made some big plays as well.
Man, I am so excited to see how he continues to develop, throughout this year. Hopefully we can do a good job and keep him here for maybe one more year and do that. But he has potential to leave right now if he wanted to. It's just one of those things where he is really self-aware. And so he really is trying to improve at his small technique and fundamentals to make sure he maximizes his value too.
What can we expect from Ingram's Dolphins?
Oh, you can expect a really athletic, big defensive end that gives us value out on the edge and gives us value inside as a rusher as well. I'm excited to see his progress, and I think between him, Tramel Walthour, and Michael Williams, they've made my job really easy because all of them work hard. They play the same or similar position, and they're each other's biggest fans. So I'm excited to see him, wrapping up his second year, what he can develop into going into his third year next year.
I'll give you two for one.
Yeah.
Give me Jonathan Jefferson and Sean Washington.
Man, I'm looking forward to those guys continuing to develop because they all have talent. Some progress faster than others. And for those two, I'm so excited to see what they bring to the table because they've been men at work just mining and honing their skills. I'm really excited to see what they come to. This is going to be a huge spring for both of those guys coming up. Yeah, I think that's the crew. You hit them.
We got who was the other defensive lineman you signed?
Jordan Hall. Yeah.
And that guy, we went down to see him in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And he was everywhere.
We're excited about him.
The team wasn't very good.
Yeah.
There was no lack of effort, even in a losing scenario.
That in itself, what you just described, is everything that I love. The team may not have been the best, but he gave the team his all. He loves those guys. He's a loyal kid. He's a hard worker.
How did that recruitment go down? Because that was looked to be tougher.
He knew what he wanted, and I feel like he found as much of what he needed in University of Georgia, and I'm excited that he trusts us enough to help him develop. But we're really excited about getting them there. So.
After the game's over, you'll see Tyrone Mitchell.
Yeah, I love him. Those guys that you go and commit and sit in on their homes and eat their food, he's going to be family no matter what. And I'm so proud of him. I love him dearly. I love his dad, his mom. He's a great kid. I'm so happy for him. Yeah. Man, one of the secret MVPs of our group, quiet leader, strong mindset, and Zion cares about the team first. And, it's been great to see his maturation since 2019. And he's really been able to show and grow and bring more value to himself really over these past 2 years. Last year we had 3 first-rounders in our room. This year we have another one potentially that can be it. And he's right in there. He brings a lot of value to us,
So when Georgia fans are going to ask, what now when Jalen Carter goes? So
next man up.
Yeah, so do you have in your mind like a blueprint of what you're going to lay out there in the spring?
Yeah. You see me smiling right now?
I didn't see you smiling. That's why I've tried to get it out of you.
Next man up. Those guys, the pressure of what Trayvon, Devontae, and Jordan built, and even those before him, Malik Herring, John Ledbetter, David Marshall, John Atkins. Those are the guys 6 years ago that we had here that created a culture here. Those were the guys that I just mentioned that played in the Rose Bowl and that got us to our first national championship. Those guys left a legacy, and they helped me and Kirby develop a culture in our group that puts pressure on the current players to uphold that standard. And if you look up standard definition, it's the quality of something. So those guys have that pressure of making sure the quality continues to stay how it is. So I'm excited about it. I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but I know it's going to look good because that's the standard,
I got a couple questions for you. One is, What is it about your room that the personalities seem to come out of it? JD, Nazir.
Man, we let them be who they are.
Right.
You know, that's really important to me. And then within the individual mindset or personality that those guys have, we have a unified goal of being the best version of this and that. But we want those guys to be individuals because I feel like, you know, it's just like when you make a good gumbo. You gotta have a trinity, you know. You gotta have some good bell peppers. You gotta have some good onions. You gotta have some good smoked sausage. So I look at it when we're building a room and developing culture as ingredients within the individual, you know. So it's great. I love them. I love them. I let them be who they are. I am who I am, and it ends up working, you know.
Talking to Will a minute ago, and he was talking about the Ohio State game.
Yeah.
The extended plays, the 5, 6, 7 seconds,
Yes,
and the hold the ball. How big of a deal was that for you, and what do you guys do to support that? I guess let me rephrase that. What was it that contributed from the D-line end that kind of maybe allowed some of that to kind of get us?
I think we as D linemen, we always use a basketball term of don't miss the layup. So if you have, you know, a great player like C.J. Stroud is, you have to do a really good job if you beat an offensive lineman of making 100% of the plays that come to you. And when that doesn't happen, that puts our defensive backs in a defeated position, and we don't ever want that as D linemen. So we take all of that burden of responsibility. If that quarterback's back there and he's comfortable or he's eluded the rush, it's on us, you know. And so it's something that those guys take really, really to heart. They do a lot of extra conditioning. They put themselves through the ringer to make sure we prevent that. But, you know, credit to CJ, credit to that offensive line on being able to extend and make those plays.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.